Hey, everybody out there in Facebook land. This is Mr. Kurt Maly. Many of you already know who I am with Black Box Social Media. This is actually my brother over here to the side, Mr. Steve Maly, straight out of Lincoln, Nebraska. So depends on where you're watching this video. If you're watching this video, most likely you're a media buyer, or most likely you're probably buying media online because you're trying to advertise your product or service. Well, I've had an ad agency for over the last 10 years. Our ad agency has really specialized in Facebook marketing. A lot of you know me from my Facebook propaganda. Well, about 3.5 years ago, Nick and I made some changes in our office. If you don't know that story already, you can see that one later. But we made some really big story. We made a really big change back in, it was June 2015. And that big change is we decided to partner up with my brother Steve's agency. See, Steve's had an advertising agency for well over 15 years. Actually, I screwed that up. I think it's 17 years at this point. So, but essentially, he does a lot of traditional marketing. Now, when I say traditional, we're talking about print mail, radio, billboards, TV, tourism, physical products, digital products, sports teams. So I talk a lot about Facebook. I love talking about marketing and propaganda. There are a lot of people who call me and say, hey, Kurt, Facebook's not working, or these ads aren't working. And I ask them all the time, have you considered, and we start talking about multi-channel. Well, over the last 3.5, almost 4 years at this point, we've partnered up with my brother's agency out of Lincoln, Nebraska. So we've partnered up with Maly Marketing. They provide a lot of the services to our clients for running our Facebook ads, about 90% of the services. I do a lot of coaching, consulting. I still get my hands dirty, but I wanted to record this video with Steve. The main reason is because a lot of people put all their eggs in one basket when it comes to media buying, Facebook advertising, because let's be honest, it's easy, it's simple, we can all get into it, but I think we're missing our mark on a lot of different other places. So again, Steve runs Facebook ads, he runs Google ads, but they also do a lot of traditional marketing. And really what Steve and I are consistently impressed with or surprised by is how little people actually know about some of the traditional ways that people have marketed for years. So many people are running to the newest, greatest, shiny object, and they're leaving so much money on the table. So Steve recently did a training inside of a group that I help run of over 200 agency owners. It was such a hot topic, we basically decided, well, can we turn this from agency owners, how to diversify their own agency, just to show businesses on how to diversify their own ad channels. So that's exactly what you're gonna see here today. So I hope you enjoy the training. Steve, I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off with you. I will say this before I go ahead and turn off my camera and Steve, you get in the presentation. If you have any questions along the way, make sure you go ahead and put them down in the comment section. We're probably not gonna be able to get to all the questions today. We're on a really tight time schedule, but I promise that if you tag either Steve or myself, we will follow up and absolutely answer those questions. Now, if you wait to the very end of this training, there's not a sales pitch or anything else, but if you would like to diversify your marketing, Steve's gonna give you a call to action that'll let you book a call directly with one of our representatives, our business partner, by the way, not a call center or something like that. If you would like to learn about us running more of your Facebook ads, Google ads, or some of the 18.5 ways that Steve's gonna talk about right now. So as Steve likes to say as my younger brother, I have a face for radio, and my next part is his favorite part of this presentation. I turn off my camera, I shut up, I don't say anything. Enjoy the presentation with Steve. If you have a business and you are marketing online, pay very close attention. It doesn't cost anything. You're gonna get some brilliant ideas. So Steve, thanks a lot for spending time with us here. I'm gonna go ahead and mute on out. I know it is your favorite time of the day. See you on the other side.
It's always perfect when I get Kurt to be quiet for a little while. It's fantastic. Definitely appreciate you having me here as well and be able to really kick this off. Yesterday, we actually celebrated our 16-year anniversary, which is absolutely insane because it seems like it's flown by. And there's some days, obviously, it seems all longer, but it's been fantastic. So what I want to be able to talk about is, and let me just start sharing my screen and going into the presentation itself. I want to talk about 18.5 sneaky ways to leverage multi-channel marketing and what this really looks like. As a heads up, as I'm going through this presentation, I am going to shut off my camera as well, so that way we can focus really on the content, and then we'll come back for some Q&A. Over the last 16 years, we started off more on the traditional side of it, and then got really deep into online over the last 8 to 9 years at this point in time. But the more things change, the more things really stay the same. And so I want to do a deep dive on how to achieve true multi-channel marketing to help just to diversify your offerings. Part of this too is there are some things that Google and Facebook really, really like and excel at, and there's some other industries that they just don't. Health is one of them at times. Even like the CBD market is another one that's tough to run online ads. So if you have one of those companies, what do you do? And with these sneaky tricks, they'll give you a real solid idea of exactly what to do and how to pull this off. So just a quick little bit of background on me. Here's a picture of me, my wife, and beautiful daughters. For a long time, I always felt like I was hanging out in a sorority house full of a bunch of women, and then even our dog was female as well. And then here about 3 years ago, I guess it's 4 years ago here at this point in time, I accomplished one of the biggest things in my life, and I was finally having a baby boy. And the thing I think is cool about this is that the older he gets, the more he looks like me. Now, I don't know if the rest of the people are that thrilled by it, but I think it's pretty damn cool. So what we've done over the last 16 years, we've worked with people that have been on Shark Tank. We've worked with Fortune 500 companies like Gallup. We've worked with government agencies, a lot of government agencies and contracts. One of them, the state of Nebraska, tourism. We worked with a $1 billion company in GoodRx. We helped Susan Pierce Thompson hit the New York Times bestsellers list with Bright Line Eating. We even worked on a presidential campaign. Can't tell you exactly which one of the characters you see here on the screen we represented, but we worked on a presidential campaign for a little while as well. So we're able to see everything from a big macro level to very much a very micro level as well. And some of those companies, GoodRx, for example, they've been public in releasing some of their valuations. I think right now they're valued at 1.8 billion. So what we've been able to do is take some of the learnings from that and literally apply it to some of our clients that might be spending $500 a month. So it's not one of those things that, this is only for those big spenders, is you can take it regardless what your budget is and really maximize it. One of the very first stories I start off with in most of my presentations is the very first client that Kurt and I had together that appeared on Shark Tank. It was Pavlok. And what Pavlok is, you can see the device there, kind of looks like a Fitbit, if you will. What Pavlok does, it helps people break bad habits. Now, how it helps people break those habits is if you are wearing that band, it'll actually shock you. So if I'm a smoker and it knows with my hand movement that I'm smoking, it will shock me. If I have an issue with overeating and like picking, at food, and Kurt knows that I'm trying to, cut back on my calorie intake, he can take his phone out and shock me as well. So they have a lot of scientific, educational, academic-based studies kind of backing this up. That was the first client we had. And with Shark Tank is obviously you need to know the numbers. What's the cost to acquire a customer? What's your marketing spend? What's your margins? What's the cost of the product? All this type of stuff. So the client came to us a couple of years ago, told us he was getting ready to film in front of the sharks and needed these numbers. It's like, perfect. We filled them in. We gave it to him. This would have been in September of a few years back. And so he goes and he films in front of the sharks. Afterwards, we ask him when his episode's going to air. And come to find out, about 70% of the people that film in front of the sharks make TV, make an episode. So that means 30% of the people end up on the cutting room floor. And so with this product in particular, and since it does help people quit bad habits, we assumed it would be really, really good time for New Year's Eve or New Year's and New Year's resolutions and pulling that together. Because again, it helps people break bad habits, and that's when people are naturally trying to break bad habits. So generally when it does air, they'll give you about a 10-day heads up. So January hits, we're asking Manish, the client, all the time, hey, did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? He didn't hear anything at all in January. February comes, same thing. Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? He replies back, no, I haven't. March comes, nothing's happened. By this point in time, we just assume he's part of the 30% that film in front of the sharks that don't make it. Well, it was about May 10th, May 12th of a couple years back, is he calls us up. He's like, hey guys, I'm going to be on Shark Tank and I'm going to be on it here in about 10 days. And I need you guys to be super aggressive on ads right after the episode ends. Like, perfect. Like, what did the sharks say? He's like, well, I can't tell you. I'm like, no, I'm not asking if you got funded or not. Just overall, what did the sharks say? What kind of feedback they give you? Anything along those lines. And he's like, I can't give you any insights whatsoever. So we were getting ready to run these ads, a little blind, but hey, it's on Shark Tank. A great way to take advantage of that opportunity. So he gets on Shark Tank, and as we're watching it, we realize it's the season finale of Shark Tank. So we know, something's going to happen. And as we continue to watch that episode, we realize he is the last person on the season finale as Shark Tank. So we know at that point it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to go where, you know, all the sharks get up, they want to fund him, they want to give him a giant hug, sing Kumbaya, or kind of the complete opposite. So what ended up happening is that Mark Cuban, who I assumed going in would be the one that's most open to it, right off the bat, called him a con artist and a fraud. And that was about as good as it got for him. The sharks kept on arguing amongst themselves. Manish, our client, was bouncing back and forth and looked like he had terrible ADHD. And it's one of those things that, again, this is edited for TV. He was in front of the sharks for about 47 minutes. When it hit the air, it was only about 7 of those minutes. And it was so much infighting. It's the reason why they waited for him to be the final person on the season finale. So eventually he did get an offer. And that offer was from Mr. Wonderful. So Mr. Wonderful makes him the offer. Manish makes the comment and says, hey, look, can I call one of my investors? Let me call one of my investors, one of my advisors, let me get some advice, and then you know, just give me 5 minutes, I'll be back. And Mr. Wonderful, in his typical fashion, said, no, I need an answer, and I need an answer now. So Manish thought about it for a minute, and he thought and stated, you know, you're in this for the money. I'm in this to change lives. I don't believe we're a good fit. The answer is no, I am not going to take your offer. The next 5 to 6 words out of Mr. Wonderful's mouth was bleeped out. It was basically F off, get the F out of here. The episode ended, credits started to roll, and our ads went live. So to give you an idea, generally if you appear on Shark Tank, you'll get about a 30% bump in business just by airing, regardless if you get funded or not. In his case, he got almost a 40% decrease in business. People are all over his social media saying that he was what's wrong with CEOs today. He's what's wrong with millennials. Like, you know, he was just a hoax and a fraud, like just huge amount of backlash. So what we ended up doing is setting up a whole series of ads and Facebook Lives and everything that goes along with it that really kind of told more of his story, went a little bit deeper into the reason why he exists, what he's trying to do, what his mission, his cause really truly is. So we led them through this whole educational process. It's just like what Kurt does with the belt method. It helps really educate and bring a ton of value before you ask for anything in return. So eventually all those people that, you know, had a bunch of backlash against him through good storytelling and being in front of them on a very consistent basis. If you fast forward 30 days, we end up seeing a 40% spike in business. So we ended up recouping a lot and really becoming pretty profitable with that episode. And even to this day, when that episode airs, he does see a nice little spike that takes place. The reason why I bring it up is because I am so much more interested in human behavior, in what people actually do versus what they say. Now, all the social media comments when people were talking about him, were making the comments that, hey, I'll never buy from you, I can't trust you, I can't believe in you, all that type of stuff. So they were stating one thing, but again, because we can retarget and tell that good story again and again and again, they came back and bought a ton back from him. So that's what I'm always very interested in. This is the reason why myself and my creative director dive deep into a bunch of academic studies. Because with academic studies, it really focuses on people, not a hidden agenda. What I mean by that is one of the most famous studies that's out there. It's a study that came out in the 1980s that talked about how cigarette smoking is actually good for your health. However, if you look at the fine print is that study was sponsored by Philip Morris. So of course, Philip Morris, the largest cigarette maker in the world at that point in time, is going to come out and state that. That's why I'm not interested in, again, what people say, but what they do. And that's what opens us up on the multi-channel marketing side of things, is because it really paints the picture is as much as people believe we have changed over the years, the decades, generations, in reality, we're still the same people at heart. So the question always comes up, like, all right, you've worked with some of these people. How did you get these people? What does that look like? So I want to have a couple of focuses on here and really being able to take a look at, again, 18 and a half sneaky ways that you can use multi-channel marketing to pull leads into your company, get new business, close deals, all that. So a lot of times I lead off with this question, why are you friends with your best friend? Even to a certain extent, how did you meet your significant other? A lot of times people say, well, I'm friends with my best friend because we share the same religious views, same political views. We have kids together that play softball, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, the reason why you're friends, the number one influence on the reason why you're friends is actually because of proximity, because you are close to each other one way or another. This could be physically, or this could be through, maybe it's an online community, if you will. But overall, proximity again and again and again is the number one factor in how we gain friends, employees, and clients. And if you think about it, you always talk about your sphere of influence. And this is exactly where sphere of influence is. It opens up those opportunities, and you have to be in front of the right people at the right time to make it work. And that's where traditional marketing really works well, because it can paint a little bit of a broader brush, and it gets you into proximity with that audience itself. A couple of things that we really want to take a look at as well. And so really for this presentation, we're starting off with three main categories. Proximity, number one, and we'll break it down. Number two category is defining your niche. And when we talk about this with clients is pick your top 2 or 3 tops of audiences you want to go after, types of businesses you want to work with, who your consumer is. In our case, is about a third of our business is tourism and economic development. So it's very much on the government side of things. About a third of it is kind of higher end online ad spenders, people who've been on Shark Tank, people we help hit the New York Times bestsellers list, people that are kind of celebrities in their own space. And a lot of times it happens to be the health space. And the third niche that we're in is small business. The reason why it's so important is because it allows you to focus in. Now you get to know your audience really in a much more of an intimate detail. And you also get to intimately get to know their pain. What are they facing? Because what a small business is facing is completely different than, again, somebody that might be hitting the New York Times bestsellers list. So that's the reason why we have different messaging. We have different marketing techniques set up to attract those different types of individuals, because we know exactly where they're at and what their pain points are. We also get to know intimately their buying process. What does that look like? Government's a long buying process. Generally speaking, it's not one of those things that they can just make a buying decision today. There's lots of hoops they have to jump through, depends on the price point, if that has to go out for bid, all this type of stuff. If we're going to meet up with a small business owner, potentially today, after meeting with them for an hour, we can get an okay to move forward with it. But it allows us to dig deep into that market, and it makes the revenue and projections that much more predictable, because you know exactly where you're fitting into the buying process and why they buy. That's the most important thing. Some of our government agencies is that at times you simply just need to be the vendor of choice, and that's it, which is a lower bar than some of the other clients we work on, that you must be world class at this skill set. But being able to understand that allows you to really open up your marketing and open up those opportunities. So once you get that niche and define that niche, it really will drive all your other marketing decisions. The third category I want to be able to focus on, and again, we'll break down these 3 categories and exactly what fits underneath proximity, niches, and them being different, is all the time in marketing, you are told, got to be different, what makes you different. And it's super interesting. There's a lot of studies that have been done. And out of those studies, it came back that really only 6% of companies worldwide are truly different. Again, these are world-class companies. Apple is a good example. Amazon is a good example. They're truly different than some of their competitors. What that means is 96% or 94% of us are really the same. And what we state as our differences, 94% of the other companies in our industry can state the exact same thing. So being different isn't the key. And again, there's research that backs this up. What the key is being distinctive. You see, if you're being different and you look at the chart on the circles on the left-hand side, I'm going to be different. I'm going to be outside of the circle. Well, if you take a look at it, that means I'm still a smaller circle inside of a bigger circle. It's still about the same, but it's more important to be distinctive. Where on the right-hand side, you can see there's different colors of shapes. Some of them are filled in, and that's what being distinctive is. Your eye naturally carries over to the right, to those different colored circles. different size circles, because it's distinctive. It sticks out in the marketplace. I'll give you a ton of examples of this, but one of them, the state of Nebraska. State of Nebraska, 3 years ago, they did a study, and the state of Nebraska came in dead last, 50 out of 50, in regards to where people thought about taking a vacation. Not where they went, but simply where they thought about going. Again, in order to take a vacation or to even buy something, you have to think about it before you actually do it. So what they ended up doing was completely turning the marketing on their head. And what it came down to is they would have headlines like this: "Lucky for you, there is nothing to do here." That's one of the big things that people believe. There is nothing to do in Nebraska. So let's be upfront. Let's be distinctive about it. Let's just bring it up. So in their advertising, it talks about exactly that. You can see on the right-hand side, in Nebraska, we believe that only boring people get bored. So we invent our own fun. Like when we realized that a livestock tank would float and thought, hey, it's a boat. Soon tanking became the preferred method of meandering down or slow-moving rivers. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but if it sounds as good to you as it did to us, go to Visit Nebraska for a free travel guide. So again, that's what the key is about being distinctive. If you take a look at tourism, you can go to a lot of different places and experience a lot of the same things. So you're not that different. What do you do to be distinctive? So with that being said, again, I want to be able to break down really over the next 20 minutes the different categories and what this looks like, and really how to become that much more distinctive of what you're doing. First, let's focus on proximity, on bucket number one, if you will. Number one, this is low-hanging fruit, is being able to take a look at local networking groups. Now, I know at times they can kind of get a bad name. You know, it's a social coffee club or drinking club, whatever it may be. But again, proximity drives so much action, so many transactions, and so many relationships around us. It has to be top of mind. It has to be one of the top priorities you take a look at. So with the local networking groups, you got some set up all across the U.S. and all across the world. BNI, Business Network International. P&G. P&G is actually a company that I founded here 12 years ago in Lincoln. For the simple fact of BNI, we had some chapters, but it wasn't the right fit. And so what we ended up doing was creating a network of people. And now we have somebody in construction. We have somebody that's obviously in marketing. We got somebody that's an insurance agent. We got somebody that's a real estate agent. Get together on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, and it's all about extending leads back and forth. One of our groups here in town has only about 12 people. It's on a little bit of a lighter side of things. But in 2019, it closed over $300,000 in business. So it made a huge impact into a lot of the companies that were a part of that because of proximity and the trust level that gets built with that. The local Chamber of Commerce has a bunch of these networking groups set up as well for you to really get involved with. And again, leverage the number one reason why people are in relationships together. You then can take a look at more regional masterminds. You have Vistage International that I was a part of for about 5 years as well. For this one, it's more regional. The people that come to these meetings, for example, like P&G on the last slide, the farthest person drives is probably 30 minutes. This is probably a 3 to a 4 hour drive. These typically meet up about once a month, and you bring in different speakers and different people to kind of learn from. But a lot of this is business owners, is CEOs, COOs of companies, and allows you to network at a little bit of a higher level, if you will. This is simply who happens to be in your town. EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, YPO, Young Professionals Organization, CEO Forums. They're great ways to bring people in. Again, you get to build a lot of trust. And once you build that trust, business comes next. It's easy to be able to refer off to them and for them to be able to refer off to you as well. When I was in Vistage, this is generally every dollar I spent in membership fees for Vistage. Depending on the year, I would get at minimum $3 back out of it. Maximum 1 year was about $7 back out of it. So at times, people also say that, hey, you can't track some of this. Absolutely, positively, you can, and it's through project work. So can you imagine how that could be a real big benefit by expanding your network inside of your own company? The other side is more national masterminds and peer groups. Now, when we talk about this, it's being able to surround yourself really with smarter people, be able to level up above from where you're at now. So if you're $1 million company, you want to become a $5 million company, Find a group with a bunch of people that are at that $5 million company level. The key here is that you will be uncomfortable, and you should be uncomfortable, because that uncomfortableness makes you really grow and makes you really expand. And so there's a lot of national groups that even pull people in internationally to be able to take a look at. I mean, that's the reason why Kurt and I have been able to get some of the opportunities that we've gotten, is because we're in some of these higher end networking groups that bring in people literally from all over the world, which has then blessed us with clients all over the world. And don't get me wrong, everybody that goes to these events a lot of times has that fear that, you know, I'm not enough, I don't belong, these people are too smart for me. The thing that actually has brought me comfort in that is that almost everybody thinks that as well. It's not a unique thought. You're not the only one that's there that believes they shouldn't be there, you know, they don't belong to be there. Everybody's really kind of thinking that through for you. And so that, for me, that's what brought me comfort. But at the same time, knowing that these people really stretched us, but it opened us up to a whole nother level of networking and opportunities. It's through some of these networking groups is where we got this national mastermind, an opportunity to work with GoodRx, a multi-billion-dollar company. So again, the key with that is networking with people level up from where you're at now. Network with where you want to go, not where you currently are. You know, you've heard the adage a bunch, but it's absolutely true. When you walk into some of these rooms, you want to be, you know, quote unquote, kind of the dumbest person in that room. If you're walking in a room and you're the smartest person in that room, you should get the hell out of that room and find another room instead. The key behind this as well, though, is to be a connector. Now, Kurt and I's dad, he was in customized construction for about 30 years. He built custom homes, and it was beautiful work that he did. However, I have a hard time even hanging a photo and making sure it's level. But what I mean by that, and being a connector, is that people will contact me. It's like, hey, you know a bunch of people. Do you know a good roofer? Do you know somebody to come in and remodel my kitchen? Now, they're not calling me and asking me to do that because they know it's not my skill set. However, if I'm top of mind for them when they need a remodeler, when they need a roofer, you know damn well I'm top of mind for them when they need a marketing agency, when they need somebody to run online ads, when they need somebody to take a look at their brand, at their position in the marketplace, and what can we do traditionally as well. So it's important to be known as a connector. So, and that's one of the biggest things that can be a huge benefit to you. And I hope you can see how this can be a benefit to you by being a connector. Also, take a look at local trainings. You know, local chambers are always looking for trainers, always. And it's a great way for you to be able to get involved and be in front of, you know, some groups of 10, 20, 30, 100 people. It works out really well. Plus, a lot of groups are always looking at hosting continuing education, you know, medical services, financial services, insurance services, that they all have to go through continuing education every single year. They're always looking for speakers. It's a great opportunity once you know your niche. You know, maybe your niche is financial advisors. Take a look at some continuing education opportunities where financial advisors all gather together to get some of their CE credits, become a speaker there. The other key, team up with companies that are in front of your clients naturally. For example, accountants, attorneys, business consultants. We were trying to get into some small businesses in a town here about an hour and a half away from us. We teamed up with the local accountant there that had a bunch of clients that had some really good revenue. They were spending some money on marketing, but they didn't know if that money was an investment or as an expense. So we did some workshops with them and really showed them that marketing should be, if done right, is an investment and not an expense. But it really allowed us to expand our book of business by leveraging that accountant's book of business. Number 8, you know, start your own internet marketing party. You know, one of Kurt's good friends, David Gonzalez, I guess I don't know, like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that he started this up. You know, it's one of the things that I did here at a local level, was just create kind of a meetup. There's a lot of people in our industry that are running some online ads and are online media buyers that can do really great work. But a lot of times in this industry, people work out of their, you know, out of their home, out of their spare bedroom. So you don't see them typically on the day-to-day. So we started bringing them together at just a social event where now we can start talking shop. For us, it's helped a ton in recruitment, knowing that, oh, when you ran ads in the past for these type of people, you know, will you help us out? It's also opened up a lot of doors. I mean, one of them was with an email, somebody that's a guru at email marketing that opened up a door. Like, hey, we have a client that does have a deficit on the Facebook ad buying side of it. Can you help out? And again, it's because of proximity. It allowed us to really bring it together. So the next thing I want to take a look at is niches and what happens when you really drill down into the niches. So one of them is print ads. Print ads can work extremely well. Extremely well. And again, what this takes a look at is being able to deliver value inside of a certain industry. Now, if you're looking at advertising and maybe the local newspaper, that might not be the best fit. Depends who you are, but most of the time it's not. So we take a look at very industry-specific types of advertising. A lot of trade publications. Again, go back to that financial advisor niche. There's a lot of trade publications that fit into that financial advisor niche that allows you to do some advertising inside of that and be in front of them. General business magazine, chamber publications. Print can be very effective because you're in front of people again and again. And we figure out ways that we can actually track print to figure out what is working for you and what's not working for you. If you're interested to find out how we do some of that tracking, hit us up at the end of this. I'll get you the website to go to, and we'll fill you in on some of those details. The other side of it, take a look at sponsorships. Is we do sponsor quite a few trade shows overall. It gets our name again in front of those buyers because we know our niche, we know where they're at. Most of these organizations, or most of these, have organizations, and these organizations have annual meetings. Become a sponsor of those annual meetings. Be able to meet up with a bunch of the attendees, or maybe initially just become an attendee. One hack on this, I had a good friend that did this. I love the idea. He could not afford to get in the door for one of the annual meetings that his main niche had. So what he ended up doing is dressing up, but he also grabbed a power cord, an extension cord, and he wrapped that kind of around his shoulder, carried it in, walked right past one of the sign-up sheet is that, and walked right into the convention because people looked at him. Well, if he's carrying around an extension cord, he must be somebody important. He must be going somewhere. He must be helping out. You can even have little hacks like that. If initially you can't afford it, but at least you can be in front of those people. The other side of it, at these conferences, set up a booth. But generally, if we are doing it ourselves, it's not enough just to be a booth or have a booth. It's become a presenter. Have a breakout session. Most of the time with these conventions is they're struggling to fill every single breakout. Many times they'll have ideas on a keynote speaker. They'll bring in that keynote. Maybe that keynote will do a breakout as well. The majority of conferences do struggle to find enough people to lead even a 45-minute breakout section. Become that presenter. The nice thing about this too, whenever we sponsor a conference, speak at a conference, we always negotiate to get the list of attendees up front. And the reason is we then send them a direct mail piece that advertises free beer. So come by our booth, on this afternoon, and we'll hand you a free beer. The perfect thing about free beer is not everybody loves free beer, but the majority of people love free beer. But it also gets them to come by our booth. It gives us at least a couple of seconds, if not generally speaking, a couple of minutes to chit chat, to find out more information about them. We also lead with value. Free beer is good value, just like the belt method. The belt method is all about leading with value, or that digital newspaper that always talks about. Just taking the same concepts online and applying them offline. So the free beer is it opens up the conversation. A lot of times what we do as well is we'll bring in a Keurig machine and we'll give free coffee away in the morning. And the beautiful thing about a Keurig machine is typically it takes about 60 seconds to make a cup of coffee. So it gives us a real good opportunity to be able to chat with that person for about 60 seconds. The other side of it, after we're done with some of these conferences, is we'll send out a handwritten letter. Think about it. When was the last time you got a handwritten letter? A handwritten note, handwritten anything. Might have been birthdays, but even we just got done with the holiday season. Holiday season, there used to be a lot of people that would write out letters about what happened in the past year. Majority of the time anymore, it's 3, 4, 5 photos, ship it, and done. And that's about it. So handwritten notes is a huge key on this as well, and something to really kind of take advantage of. So the other side of it is just Google. Part of the ad buyers we talk to, a decent chunk of them are focused more on the Facebook side of it than Google. But just set a solid foundation. Even for our agency on Google, we can be a hell of a lot more aggressive than this. But even we will spend only $200, $250 a month protecting our brand, going after competitors that we have in the marketplace, and really just representing our core competencies. By $200 to $250 a month, We're able to kind of protect our brand. We're in front of competitors. We're able to get enough leads to be sufficient in our pipeline overall. And that really allows us to lay a really good foundation. So can you see how this could benefit you as well? Is just making sure that you're protecting that, because regardless in advertising, how they find out about you, they're going to go online to find out that much more information about you. So being distinctive, this is what we end up doing, and you can see this. So the big thing is a lot of times in marketing, especially in print or visuals, it's very stock based, very, just cheesy or stoic, or it just isn't there. So for some of our marketing, we put together a one-eyed cyclops. And with the ad, you wouldn't be reading this if we had put a respectful business person in that chair. You'd have just glossed over it. But we didn't use a business person. We used an orange puppet with a blue mohawk, and it stopped you because he's not what you're expecting. He got noticed. 89% of ads don't get noticed. And this is the type of stuff we're talking about being distinctive, not necessarily different. I'll be honest with you. I think we are phenomenal at what we do. There's a lot of agencies out there that are pretty dang good at what they do. And we're talking about, kind of fractional differences at times. But if we can be distinctive in the marketplace, we'll win more than not. Again, just imagine being distinctive instead of different and the impact that'll make on your business. The other side of it is we bought billboards here locally in Lincoln for advertising. We bought billboards. It's a very high trafficked part of town. It's in a very business centric part of town. So they see this imprint all the time. This is the exact billboard that you see up on the screen as well. So you'll be able to hit that impact again and again and again. And I feel like at times, like this guy is almost watching over you, and the Cyclops is watching you. The other flip side of it, because again, it's not always about business. Sometimes it's about talent acquisition. The billboard happens to be close to the local university here as well. The University of Nebraska has one of the best journalism schools throughout the entire United States. We win awards on it every single year. We win competitions on it every single year. And we are literally 3 blocks away from campus. And so we do get a lot of people that see this, and students that see this, that reach out to us because they're graduating soon, or they want to get an internship. That's great lead gen on that side of it. And the flip side is competitors aren't doing it. So now we can really own that space. Many times that you can own a space, is again, the more distinctive, the more memorable you're really going to be. The other side, we do a ton of highly targeted direct mail pieces. Direct mail can work extremely, extremely well if you do it well. We've literally had return rates of somebody getting one of our direct mail pieces and following through on the call to action upwards of 40% at times. We had one that we put together, and it was a one-time direct mail piece, and we did a couple of follow-ups that closed over $200,000 in business. One of them, we won an award for this last year, is with a direct mail piece. Is it generally, we would do 4 of them. Once a quarter, they would go out. Well, after we did the one in the second quarter, it performed so well that she called us up and fired us. And what I mean by that, she's like, hey, look, I got enough appointments. I'm booked out for the rest of the year because of this effort. We will start over next year on doing the direct mail side of it again. So for this one, is what we're doing is we're actually sending this out to prospects we want to be in front of. We have identified 30 different prospects here locally we want to be in front of. Now, when I say locally, is that's what we're doing. With that being said, it's just as easy for us to send one of these periscopes to somebody in California as it is here in Nebraska. Now we can just hop out on a Zoom call, get to know them. Maybe we vet them a little bit more, set up a face-to-face meeting, that type of stuff. So all in on that packaging that you're seeing right there, it's going to cost, about $3, maybe $3.50, all in. Now what that can gross, and I'm kind of filling in that a little bit, is, oh God, what rough math, 80x that, but it's different. And that's the biggest thing. It's very, very distinctive in the marketplace. Not many of the people are doing it. So a highly targeted direct mail can work out extremely well. The other side of it, under being distinctive, and this just kind of happened. I wasn't overly intentional, to be fully open with you, and it just kind of happened. I'll do a lot of guest presentations. I'll do a lot of speaking engagements throughout the Midwest. One thing you should know about me is I hate wearing shoes. And so if most of the time I have to wear something, I'm wearing sandals, as long as there's not a bunch of snow on the ground. And with the sandals, people got to know me as that speaker that always wears sandals. again, it's distinctive. It's something that really sticks out. So that's a talking point a lot of times when people come up to me. Oh, you got your sandals on, you're wearing your sandals, you know, it's cold outside, what are you doing with your sandals? But it's because I'm distinctive, people remember that, and I'm able to really latch onto it as well. So again, imagine if you have something that you can be distinctive and align with being distinctive, and how much more powerful that is than simply just being different. The other side of it, 18, it's get weird. You know, think of just random ideas. You know, one of them, and we did all these for a wine association for the state of Nebraska, is we did sidewalk chalk. We realized a bunch of moms that drink a bunch of wine go and take walks in these certain neighborhoods. So we went out, and it cost about $3 for the chalk and the stencils. And we would literally chalk over to the sidewalk on the path that they'd be walking on. This would be more fun with wine. Visit Nebraska wineries. We went to some different bars, and we put up stickers in the bathroom mirrors. You're better than this, Nebraska wines. We even had, Nebraska's big for football. We do a ton of tailgating. With the tailgating, there's a bunch of porta potties that go on. On the back door of porta potties is what we ended up putting was a poster. And if you were at a winery, you wouldn't have to hover. Spoke directly to our market, was very distinctive, was exactly where they were at naturally. And at that point in time, it became just figuring out a way to get a pattern interrupt and do something a little bit different. So that's where we're always really kind of taking a look at. The last thing is tip 18 and a half is be a giver. There's an excellent book. It's Give and Take by Adam Grant. Adam Grant's the author. And in it, he has identified givers, matchers, and takers. So givers is people that give you a value again and again and again and again. Matchers is, hey, I did something for you. Now you'll do something for me. Once you do something for me, I'll be open to doing something for you again. Or takers, it's those that never give any value. They'll just take. And what he found out is every single time givers won. Now, short-term wise, at times takers would win. Short-term was defined as 2 months or less. I was trying to make a quick buck. Being a taker might be the best way to make a quick buck. But anything beyond 2 months, givers won. And that's psychologically why the belt method wins out almost every time. It's because it's leading with value. It's being that giver in a digital format before you ask for anything back. And what Adam Grant was talking about, the most successful people on average gave for 2 hours per week. That could be going into Facebook groups and answering questions. That could be leading local trainings. That could be, mentoring a student. That could be going on campus and talking in front of a class. But givers always win. And so that's one of the big keys on that too. Is that across all walks of life, they looked at attorneys, they looked at doctors, they looked at sports athletes, they looked at general managers of sports teams. Across all walks of life, givers were more likable, more relatable, more trustworthy, and they were simply better leaders as well. So that's the 18 and a half tip that I really want to be able to leave you with. That's one of them that will make a huge difference, huge difference. So to wrap up, I want to leave you with this, with the power of choice. With most of my presentations, we always end with this, and it's power of choice. Is ideally you've learned some things you can implement yourself. So you can put into action. You can be able to get some business, some leads. Again, maybe it's attract some different employees you're looking for. You can see exactly how this can benefit you. Now, if you choose to put this into action, let me know. I love hearing those stories. I love hearing, yes, this worked out well, this didn't work out as well. We can help troubleshoot, that type of stuff. Again, it's your choice to be able to listen to this and follow this and not take any action. That is completely your choice. But the one thing I do want you all to fully remember about this presentation as we do wrap up is that I am the better brother. With that being said, the final call to action on this, and we will wrap up, is if you're interested in learning more about multi-channel marketing, how to really leverage multi-channel marketing for yourself, for any of your clients. Like I said, we do a ton on digital, we do a ton traditional. The biggest thing with us is we're very, very strategic, and we're good at helping people become distinctive in the marketplace. You can book a call at blackboxsocialmedia.com/book a call. Like Kurt said, that'll be with business partner Nick, you'll be able to chat with Nick, kind of talk about the needs, and then we'll be able to funnel you to the appropriate conversation. So again, I appreciate you joining me on this. I know that I gave you some good information on this. And again, just imagine what the difference looks like being distinctive versus being different, and how this can really impact and really benefit you. Well, that's what I have, Curtis. I know we are running up into a tight deadline here as well, timeline-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to turn on my camera here for just a minute just to say, hey, really appreciate you all being here as well. I know a lot of people are going to be watching the replay more than anything else. So remember, if you're advertising right now on Facebook, one of the best things that you should do is take a look at Facebook as a lead or sales channel acquisition, meaning it's a good arm to get sales and leads from, but it's not your only arm. So many people only invest in just the Facebooks and they may be spending $200, $300, $400 a day. But then you get on the phone, you talk to Steve or someone that works with Steve, and you're like, wait a minute, the money I'm already spending on Facebook trying to figure things out, I could already be figured it out with like a direct mail or just some other options. I was just talking to someone today, for example, and they're trying to figure out all these different nuances of Facebook for a product that doesn't really sell very well on Facebook. And I asked them, what about direct mail? What about some of these other ideas that Steve had just gone over? And they're like, well, I haven't even thought about that. I'm like, well, you've already invested a lot of money to try to figure something out that everyone's in. Why not? It's not even thinking outside the box. It's like you can buy lists for this customer that you can give a direct mail. So at the end of the day, here's what ends up happening. It's not really that expensive to test some of these other objectives, especially in this multi-channel function. So Steve, I would allow you to turn on your video, but honestly, I don't know what the heck that I'm doing here. So hey, if anybody has any additional questions, Steve left you a link. I'll put it in the post itself. Hope you enjoy this. Steve, you have any other last parting words since I'm not able to turn on your camera for whatever reason?
No, again, just remember that I'm the best brother. But if you are interested in learning more about multi-channel, that can help you with one of your clients, definitely go to blackboxsocialmedia.com/book a call, and we'd love to chat.